Well, this also means, guys, that the DHFL scam is now India's biggest ever banking scam. In fact, the scam would have continued to remain a great secret if the news portal Cobra Post had not exposed the scandal in 2019. This DHFL scam raises many important questions, guys. Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about a scam that simply cannot be referred as just another scam. The magnitude and the scale of the scam is so huge that it will simply blow your mind into pieces. The DHFL Bank, which is the main architect of this whole thing, has pulled off a scam that is worth 31,000 crores. Yes, you have heard it right. The scam is worth whooping 31,000 crores. This astronomical amount makes the scam bigger than the ABG shipyard scam, a scam that was unearthed only a few months back and is estimated to be around 22,000 crores. Well, this also means, guys, that the DHFL scam is now India's biggest ever banking scam. In this special video, I will bring all the important details as to how DHFL went about pulling off such a huge scam so brazenly and openly. By the way, I'm not using these terms brazenly and openly casually here. That's because DHFL Bank managed to pull off this 31,000 crore scam right under the nose of every important regulatory body, be it the RBI, SEBI or even Finance Ministry. Interestingly, or should I say quite magically, none of these regulatory bodies were not even remotely aware that this scam was being enacted. In fact, the scam would have continued to remain a great secret, at least for a few years, if the news portal Cobra Post had not exposed this scandal in 2019. For all those who don't know, Cobra Post is a popular news portal that specializes in investigative journalism. Now, before I start sharing these important details about this whole explosive scam, I would like to share some important information about the DHFL Bank. Well, what is this bank all about? Well, DHFL Bank stands for Diwan Housing Finance Corporation. It was established in 1984 as a housing finance limited company. This company was established with an aim to provide home financing loans to middle income groups living in semi-urban and rural regions of India. Technically speaking, DHFL was an NBFC or non-banking finance company. This meant that it was a non-depository bank. Non-depository bank means that it was not allowed to take deposits from common people but was allowed to provide loans to people on a commercial basis. But the question is, if NBFC was not supposed to take deposits, then how do they finance their loans? Well, the answer is that NBFCs are legally mandated by the RBI to take loans from depository banks. Now, what are these depository banks? Well, depository banks are banks where common people like you and me stash their money as deposits, which include banks like HDFC, ICICI, Axis, and so on and so forth. Well, after taking loans from such depository banks, NBFCs then divert these loans to the customers at a higher interest rate. These higher interest rates are actually what accounts for their profit margin. Now, let's again focus back on the DHFL Bank by talking about the promoters of the company. DHFL Bank is owned by the Mumbai-based influential business empire called Wadhwan family, with Kapil Wadhwan being the main driving force of the company. Kapil Wadhwan was the MD and chairman of the company when this massive scam was pulled off. On another hand, Kapil Wadhwan's younger brother Dheeraj Wadhwan and another family member Aruna Wadhwan were also main promoters of the company. Let's now finally talk about the DHFL scam, which is obviously the main theme and topic of the story. Well, the genesis of this scam was laid in 2010 when the consortium of banks led by India's largest bank SBI granted a loan of 34,000 crores to DHFL. Other nationalized banks like Bank of Baroda, Union Bank of India, Canara Bank and few other international banks were also part of this consortium. Well, some viewers might now ask why DHFL took this loan. Well, remember a few months back I told you that NBFCs like DHFL mainly finance their businesses by taking loans from commercial banks. These loans are then diverted to their end customers at higher interest rates. Now, technically and conventionally speaking, DHFL should have pumped this entire 34,000 crores into business operations, which means that this entire money should have gone into the accounts of millions of its end customers. And most of DHFL's end customers are obviously home loan customers. However, according to Cobra Post, the company's promoters siphoned off almost 95% of the money, which is equivalent to nearly 31,000 crores, and stashed this money into dozens of shell companies. Now, apparently, the Wadhwan family had extensively used shell companies to pull off this huge scam. Hence, all my viewers need to understand what are these shell companies and why are they so popular with scamsters and fraudsters. Well, shell companies are companies that neither have any active business or physical address and nor do they have any employees. In other words, shell companies mostly exist only and only on paper. But despite having existence only on paper, shell companies are legally allowed to own bank accounts. Now, many companies seek to misuse this legal loophole by using bank accounts of shell companies merely as pass-through entities. This simply means that money gets routed through bank accounts of several shell companies before it reaches the final destination. Now, this invariably creates a complex web of transactions which is actually meant to fool the tax authorities. Now, since many companies use shell companies as merely pass-through entities, they have become notorious for promoting fraudulent activities like tax evasion, diverting money to tax havens or offshore locations, and money laundering. Well, in a nutshell, today shell companies have almost become synonymous with illegal financial activities. Coming back to the DHFL scam, the main modus operandi of this massive scam was very simple. DHFL had created dozens of shell companies and shifted almost entire 31,000 crores as secured and unsecured loans to the bank accounts of these scores of shell companies. Now, since DHFL wanted to show to the world that this 31,000 crore has been indeed diverted as a loan, the company had to create fake borrowers. Now, according to unconfirmed reports, the Vadhvans created more than 1 lakh fictitious or fake borrower accounts with the help of a special customized software. Once these fake borrower accounts were created, DHFL started diverting big tranche of funds into these fake accounts. Thereafter, DHFL transferred these big tranches of funds to dozens of shell companies with the help of these proxies. As the money got channelized through dozens of shell companies, it created a web of complex transactions, which, as I had already mentioned, is meant for fooling the tax authorities. While the money kept circulating in the bank accounts of dozens of shell companies, all this money eventually landed into bank accounts of companies that are directly or indirectly connected to the Vadhvan family. This simply means that almost the entire 31,000 crores, which is actually public money and belongs to Indian taxpayers, had now been converted into private wealth of the Vadhvans. Well, with 31,000 crores of astronomical wealth, India could have had great economical development, but it ended up becoming a private wealth empire of an influential business family. Once the Vadhvans got hold of such an astronomical amount of money, they started splurging these money into buying expensive private jets and assets. Well, Cobra Post claims that DHFL bought private assets worth 4,000 crores. Most of these private assets were located in offshore or foreign locations like Sri Lanka, Dubai, UK or Mauritius. Furthermore, several years back, DHFL promoters also bought Sri Lanka Premier League team called Wayamba. Now, the fascinating details about this scam does not end here. Guys, whenever there's a massive scam, there's always a political connection, and DHFL scam is no exception. Cobra Post has made a shocking revelation that DHFL also made heavy political fundings. The money that was used for political funding was again apparently sourced from the huge pool of money that was stashed in several dubious accounts owned by the DHFL. By the way, almost all DHFL's political funding allegedly went to the ruling party BJP. Well, according to Cobra Post, DHFL made a political funding of 19.5 crores to BJP between the financial year 2015 to 16, and these funds were channelized through 3 companies: the RKW Developers Private Limited, Darshan Developers Private Limited, and Skills Realtors Private Limited. All these 3 companies were again indirectly connected to the Vadhvan siblings. DHFL scam's political connection does not end here. DHFL is believed to have advanced more than 1,000 crores to several dubious companies located in the states of Gujarat and Karnataka. Interestingly, these funds were transferred to these dubious companies barely months before Gujarat and Karnataka went for state elections in 2017 and 18. Well, remember guys, these are only allegations, and these allegations of political funding by DHFL has not been proven yet. However, if there is any truth in these allegations, then it means that several top politicians may be involved in this multi-billion-dollar scam. And as I said before, a scam that is as massive as DHFL cannot be pulled off without powerful political connections. It is also important to note that DHFL was a publicly listed company. This meant that the company was legally mandated to declare its financial results to investors after every quarter. And if one goes through DHFL's financial statements in recent years, then most people will be left absolutely shocked. That's because barely 2 years before DHFL was officially declared insolvent and bankrupt, the company had shown pretty impressive and healthy revenue and profits on its balance sheet. According to DHFL's annual reports, the company's profit after taxes had grown at a compound annual rate of 21%, and its loan books had grown at a CAGR of 22% in financial year 2013 to 2018. What's even more shocking is that this company was valued at a whopping 20,000 crores in 2018. If one purely goes by DHFL's financial statements and annual reports, then it should be counted as one of the most profitable NBFCs and housing finance companies of India. However, as it turned out, all these figures and numbers were either fake or were highly inflated. As the DHFL scam imploded in 2018-19, few auditing firms and investment consulting firms had carried out forensic audits of DHFL's balance sheets. and the forensic audits proved beyond doubt that DHFL's promoters and its auditors had indulged in fraudulent methods to inflate the numbers of its balance sheet. What's even more important is that the company's promoters and its auditors also used fraudulent methods to hide several dubious transactions. It is worth noting that many listed companies are known for cooking their balance sheets. They do this to misguide and fool the investors, as well as for hiding fraudulent transactions. And in the case of DHFL, investors actually got carried away by the company's rosy balance sheet. The company's stock was enjoying a fantastic run at the stock market unless the scam started imploding in 2018. So much so that even ace investor Rakesh Jhunjhunwala had invested very heavily in DHFL stocks. What's really interesting is that Jhunjhunwala refused to exit the DHFL stocks even after the company's stock prices had started crashing in 2018. However, as it turned out, Jhunjhunwala's decision to take a leap of faith on DHFL stock proved to be a disastrous decision. By mid-2019, DHFL had started defaulting on its bond repayments. In June that year, the company missed on its bond repayments worth 960 crores. This forced rating agencies to immediately downgrade the ratings of the company. And when Cobra Post eventually exposed the scam, all hell broke loose for the company and its stock. Its stock prices had now started crashing at an unprecedented rate, wiping out crores of wealth of all its investors. India's capital market regulator, SEBI, finally got into the act. Considering the huge magnitude of the scam, SEBI decided to delist the DHFL stock from BSE in June 2021. During the same time, DHFL's creditors dragged the company to the insolvency court, that is NCLT, in a desperate attempt to recover the huge loans. Eventually, Primal Group acquired DHFL for over 34,000 crores through insolvency proceedings last year. As per the NCLT order, Primal Group paid nearly 14,000 crores as upfront cash to acquire DHFL. Almost this entire 14,000 crores went into the pocket of the creditors, including big commercial banks like SBI, Bank of Baroda, Union Bank, and so on. Thanks to the insolvency proceedings, these creditors managed to recover at least some amount of their loans. However, the biggest losers in the DHFL scam, as is always the case with such financial scams, were the small retail investors. Millions of DHFL small retail investors ended up losing all their money and investment. As for the Wadhwans, today Wadhwan siblings Kapil Wadhwan, Dheeraj Wadhwan, and many other members of the Wadhwan family are facing multiple lawsuits on the charges of financial fraud. CBI, ED, and many other law enforcement agencies are currently pursuing these cases against the Wadhwan family. In fact, both Kapil and Dheeraj Wadhwan were arrested and put behind bars before they got bail in May this year. This DHFL scam raises many important questions, guys. The most important being that what were these regulators doing? Why did SEBI and RBI wake up so late when they should have checked on the scam much earlier? The openness and brazenness with which the Wadhwan family pulled off the scam is simply shocking, to say the least. As I said before, this is nothing short of a broad daylight robbery, but the most important thing to realize and acknowledge is that massive scams like DHFL scam can have huge ramifications for India's financial sectors. If scams like DHFL and AGB shipyard scam keep occurring frequently even in near future, then this can seriously derail India's financial sector, and this, needless to say, will have an adverse impact on India's economy. So that was all about the DHFL scam. If you like this video, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel, and yes, hit the bell icon to never miss the next breaking tech story. You can also visit our website technodo.com for reading more tech stories across the globe. This is Prashant signing off. See you in the next one.